I'm Jalen Banks, live in Fitchburg with the latest on the stabbing that left one man dead.
And now the very latest on frost chances that the First Warn Weather Team have been talking about for a few days. Who stands the best chance tonight and who stands the best chance tomorrow night?
Real ID is now required to fly in America. I'm Arman Rahman. I headed to the local DMV to talk to people applying to get the star on their IDs.
And it's all coming up on News 3 Now at 6 Live, right here in Madison. Good evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson.
We begin with new details in that stabbing turned homicide at Monkey Shine's bar in Fitchburg.
Today, Fitchburg police held a press conference revealing more information about the suspect. This as the Dane County Medical Examiner's Office reveals the identity of the victim. For more, let's head out to Jalen Banks, who was at that press conference. Jalen.
Sarah and Eric, just within the last couple hours, we have gotten confirmation that both the victim and the suspect have been identified. The Dane County, as you mentioned, the Dane County Examiner's Office identified the victim as 39-year-old Myron D. Dunlap. And just this afternoon, the Fitchburg police shared with us the suspect is 39-year-old Madison man, Rodney Golden. In that same press conference, the Fitchburg police said both Dunlap and Golden knew each other and that the altercation started in the bar and led to the parking lot. Here's Fitchburg Police Captain Edward Hartwick on the incident.
The initial investigation has revealed two men believed to be known to each other got into a physical disturbance inside the bar. That disturbance continued into the parking lot and ended with a 39-year-old man receiving what would become fatal stab wounds. A search warrant was executed at the residence in Sun Prairie, and a rifle and nearly 500 grams of fentanyl were recovered. Investigators are now looking into the source of the firearm and narcotics.
Now, Hartwick says this investigation is ongoing. We'll continue to keep you updated both on air and online as we gather more information. But for now, reporting live in Fitchburg, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
All right, Jalen, thank you. And the man accused of killing a McFarland woman is heading to trial. 25-year-old James Barnes Morris appearing in court today for a preliminary hearing. A not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. He is charged with first-degree intentional homicide with domestic abuse assessments for the death of 24-year-old Brooke Stratton. Stratton last seen on September 30th of last year in the area of Odana Road at Whitney Way. Madison police found her body in a pond on the UW-Madison Arboretum property on October 3rd. No arraignment date has yet been set.
Congressman Derek Van Orden is rescheduling a virtual town hall due to an alleged threat made against his family. According to a message from the 3rd District Congressman's staff, a credible threat was delivered via letter to his Washington, D.C. office. We don't have any details about the threat at this point, but we do know it was reported to police. No word yet either on whether any arrests have been made. A new date for that town hall will be shared via email. And in Dodge County, a woman has been arrested for allegedly making threats towards Waupun Correctional Institution employees. The Milwaukee woman allegedly texted, called, and emailed messages that were harassing and threatening in nature. Milwaukee police found evidence of criminal activity during a search warrant as well, so the 32-year-old faces several tentative charges.
2 Merrimac firefighters are hurt after their water tender crashed last night. Merrimac Fire and Rescue says the two were training about 7:15 when that water tanker lost control along Highway 113 north of Highway 78. The tender then entered the ditch, rolled over, pinning the firefighters inside the cab. Crews were able to remove the firefighters, and then MedFlight took them to the hospital, but neither have injuries that are considered life-threatening.
The Cottage Grove community is in shock tonight after a local woman was hit and killed by a car last week. Cammie Hansen, her son and husband, were out on a walk when Jeffrey Endress allegedly hit the family with his car, killing Cammie and sending her son to the hospital. Later, court documents revealed that Hansen's son was accused of sensitive crimes involving Endress' child. Community members say the incident makes them question their safety.
It's devastating because my children walk our dog that same route every single day. And to know that something so close by, so horrible and horrendous is very scary.
Endress, who was facing 4 felony charges, including first-degree intentional homicide, died in the Dane County Jail Tuesday, according to a source familiar with the situation.
Turning to weather, another beautiful day ahead. Temperatures, though, will take a dive later tonight. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington live on our weather patio right here in Madison with his certified most accurate forecast. Alex?
Eric, southern Wisconsin, temperatures are starting that cool down. We could feel those cool breezes that have been coming in all the way off of Lake Michigan, and those cool breezes are going to make those temperatures drop down to the upper 30s, especially for areas north of the Dells, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. Upper 30s would be just right on that cusp of potentially seeing a little bit of patchy frost north of the Dells tonight. I think the rest of southern Wisconsin with the gusty winds and temperatures 40 or above likely won't see that patchy frost overnight tonight, but there is patchy frost in the forecast for everyone as we go into Thursday night. In Maine weather in a few minutes, I'm going to show you how cold those temperatures could get across all of southern Wisconsin. But the good news is it's short-lived, it's patchy frost, and mild weather is on the way for southern Wisconsin. Again, temperatures right now have slowly been dipping. We're 63 in Madison. To the west, where that cooler air has not moved in quite yet, they're still in the 70s near the Mississippi River. That's really what you get with this backdoor cold front. Temperatures cooling from east to west. We've got 65 to the west in Middleton and Cross Plains, 63 to the east off towards Deerfield. Temperatures will fall through the 50s as you join us again for our 10 o'clock newscast. And then the mercury tumbling down into the upper 30s. Again, how cold will those temperatures get Thursday night in your community? I'll let you know in a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you, Alex. Now, having a real ID is now required to fly in the United States, and it's an initiative that's decades in the making.
That's right. But do you really need one right now? And what should you do to get it? Arman Rahman went to the local DMV to find out.
Starting today, if you want to get on a plane without your passport, you have to make sure your license or ID has one of these in the top right corner.
Valid for years, except now it needs a star on it.
He may be annoyed.
This is ridiculous that it has to be done.
But Bradley Campbell needs that star as soon as possible.
I got to get on a plane tomorrow morning and wanted to make sure that all of my documents were ready to go.
If you don't have a real ID after Wednesday, the Department of Homeland Security says you will be able to fly without a passport. You'll just have to go through additional security at the airport.
You can wait if you'd like to get a real ID until your driver's license renewal comes about.
So while not everyone who came into the Park Street DMV was there for a real ID,
well, I thought I'd hold off instead of dealing with the crowds and use my passport. I've got one of those. That's just as easy.
most people have not been waiting.
Now serving D. 230.
We've been busy.
The DMV increased staffing over the past couple of weeks to deal with the influx of people applying.
You can start your application online. You can even schedule an appointment, so you don't need to wait in this line.
If your current driver's license or ID does not expire before 2025, you can get a real ID version for the cost of a duplicate, $14. A complete renewal costs $34.
This cost the people of Wisconsin, what, $100 million in lost hours to just come in and do this? Thank you, fear-mongering politicians, for costing just us all that money. Hour and a half out of my day.
But the line went smoother for him here than it might have without the real ID at the airport.
They deal with all sorts of issues all day. They were fantastic in there. They're efficient. They're helpful. They were great.
Along with real IDs and passports, tribal nation IDs will also be acceptable at airport screenings. Reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Well, to get a real ID compliant license, you'll need a valid passport or certified birth certificate. If your married name is different, you will need your marriage license as well.
And now to some upcoming road construction on the UW campus. Starting next Monday, after graduation, North Randall Avenue between Campus Drive and West Dayton Street will be closed. This closure is part of a University of Wisconsin-Madison project aimed at replacing chilled water in underground utilities. A walking path will be open on at least one side of North Randall through the work zone, which is expected to continue until late August. Now, still ahead, thousands of UW students, speaking of, are preparing for graduation this weekend.
When we come back, we'll meet one of them making family history and what it means for him.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a tassel-turning weekend ahead here where more than 9,000 students will earn their degree from UW-Madison.
That's right, big weekend. And our Merrill Hubbard brings us to Bascom Hill to meet one graduate who will be writing a new chapter, not just for himself, but for generations to come.
Here on Bascom Hill, you can see the countdown to graduation is on. And for a number of Badgers, walking across the stage and throwing their cap in the air marks a first-generation milestone for their family.
The pressure is your parents sacrificed, it's a lot is an understatement. They pretty much sacrificed everything.
Growing up with a dad who fled Soviet Russia and a mom from Poland, Thomas Kozlowski knew what his parents wanted him to be.
They go, okay, we want you to be a lawyer or a doctor. And I always poo-pooed him.
At first, he had different plans. He thought sportscaster or an athlete.
Unfortunately for me, I'm not very athletic, so that didn't work out.
But during his undergrad at Minnesota, he took a law class and liked it. He started on the path to become a lawyer, attending law school at UW-Madison.
For first-generation students, is kind of brand new, and you don't really know what to expect.
It's like learning a new language, and most first-generation students don't have fluent lawyers in their family.
They've had to persevere. They've had to work hard.
Dean Michael States says first-generation law students can relate to some of their clients more.
Their perspective is needed and necessary in law school because, the most of the people that they're going to encounter as their clients don't have lawyers in their families.
While Thomas's parents likely didn't teach him how to write a memo, they instilled values of hard work and gratitude, values that will last even past graduation.
I want them to have a son that they can be proud of. It's being like a first-generation law student is just, being the foundation for your family, being like the foundation for, my future kids, hopefully.
Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Well, congrats to all those grads this weekend. Thomas will be one of 68 first-generation law students to receive his diploma this weekend. And coming up, a long-abandoned boat on Lake Michigan is finally removed from the shoreline.
Plus, raising awareness about mental health issues that women face before, during, and after pregnancy.
And could some of us get frost overnight? Alex returns a complete forecast after a short break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. Today is World Maternal Mental Health Day, a time to raise awareness about the mental health issues many women face before, during, and after giving birth. Experts say many times it's inadequate screening, one of the contributing factors that leads to these mental illnesses being overlooked and then untreated. It is recommended there be multiple points of screening from the prenatal through postnatal periods.
There is sort of a stigma and even a reluctance sometimes to name things that might be going on with them emotionally or their mental health because of the fear of the way systems may deem them not fit to parent.
The Postpartum Support International organization says perinatal mental health conditions can not only affect the pregnant woman, but also other family members, including a partner. These illnesses are treatable, and you do not need a diagnosis to reach out for help.
The Department of Health and Human Services is using a new program to tap into Medicare and Medicaid data in its search for the root causes of autism. HHS says the database will draw from insurance claims, medical records, and data from wearable technology such as smartwatches. The Autism Science Foundation says it raises red flags about questions of privacy. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says he wants the department to find the cause of autism by September. Well, in Milwaukee County, a boat that has been stuck on Lake Michigan shoreline for months has finally been removed.
This has been named the boat Deep Thought. The ship has been stranded since the owners abandoned it after running out of gas back in October. And it survived the fall, freezing over in the winter, and is giving the city and the county a hard time as summer's approaching. So after numerous failed attempts to bring it to shore, 3 all-city towing cranes were called in to the rescue. However, not everyone is ready to see it leave.
It's awesome. I mean, again, it's rare we don't see a lot of stuff like that. It's different, especially right off the shores of the lake.
I ain't gonna miss it because as someone said, when they get done ripping it apart, I might go home with a souvenir, not that I need one.
Okay, well, now some people are hoping the city builds a statue for the boat.
We're the Schlemgen family from the Dreamy 280 farm in Blue Mounds. Alex, how's the weather?
Hey there, Schlimgen family. I'm actually your neighbor. I grew up 10 miles north of you. Love the farm. And how's your weather? 62 right now. Temperature staying in the 50s, slowly cooling down tonight. We have that backdoor cold front that's coming through all of southern Wisconsin, and it'll impact Blue Mounds as well. And Blue Mounds, you got frost chances as well in the forecast. Lovely to meet all of you folks. Little frost possibility north of Madison tonight, north of the Dells. Better chances for everyone on Thursday. That weekend, promise you. We're going to warm back up again, so it's just 2 nights of frosty stuff. Tonight, not frosty stuff widespread, but it does look like a better chance of frost as we go into Thursday night, going into Friday, as our low temperatures dip back down into the mid-30s. And I'm going to show you how cold your community temperatures are going to be as you wake up Friday morning. As you wake up Thursday morning, upper 30s to the north, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. I think the 40-degree temperatures we have in Madison and areas to the south, combined with gusty winds, will keep the frost formation overall limited tonight. But you may want to cover those plants if you're north of Madison, just to be vigilant, okay? Now, as we go into Thursday, 63 in Madison, a little warmer to the west and southwest Wisconsin, a little cooler off towards the east, towards Lake Michigan. That sets the stage as temperatures rapidly cool down. These are the lows we're expecting Friday morning. Thursday night, Friday morning, 34 in the Dells, 35 in Camp Douglas, 36 in the Wisconsin River Valley, 35 in Madison, 37 in Janesville, and 35 in Watertown. Anytime we get temperatures in the mid-30s, clear skies, light winds, that is that recipe, as we note here, calm and very light winds Friday morning. That means we have the potential for that patchy frost, especially on open or low-lying areas. So be vigilant again Thursday night, especially if you have any tender plants out there. I encourage you to get those covered up as we go into Thursday night, going into Friday morning. And then we fast forward here to the weekend, upper 70s. Mother's Day is looking stellar, almost summer-like, quite really, and staying summer-like all the way out into next week. Upper 70s to the lower 80s for high temperatures, when our normal is right around 70. And not really a lot of water chances in our forecast, at least not until we get a little bit later next week. Wednesday night going into Thursday, Friday, few residual showers left on Saturday. 1 or 2 of those storms could be on the strong side. Again, right now, 63 in Madison. Zooming on in, we got 63s and 64s, but we'll cool down once again tonight. As you join us at 10 o'clock, we'll be in the 50s. A little bit later tonight, we're going to dip down into the upper 30s to right around 40 degrees. Fast forward here, way further into May, better chances for rain, including Wisconsin, including southern Wisconsin. That would certainly be good news after a dry and warm period, and that's going to be accompanied with not icicles there, but warmer temperatures, very likely for Madison and areas off to the east, cooler weather to the western part of the United States.
And coming up in sports, Packers quarterback and master of ceremonies, why Jordan Love will have 2 titles later this month. That's next. Jordan Love was back in Titletown this morning, but not to talk football. Instead, softball was on his mind, as he's the host of this year's annual Green Bay charity softball game. And this one is a big one, as it's the 25th anniversary of the game. Now, the money raised will benefit Love's Hands of Love Foundation. And after co-hosting last year with Donald Driver, QB1 is flying solo, and he couldn't be more excited about it.
Obviously, the game's been going on for a long time, so to be able to, take the torch and kind of just carry it and keep it going, it's pretty cool. The biggest thing from Donald is just seeing the energy he brings out there. He's out there interacting with the fans the whole day, and obviously hosting it is really trying to get as many players out there as possible. So that's going to be the fun part.
Now, the softball game is May 23rd at Fox City Stadium. But before that, though, the Packers will find out their schedule for next season, and we'll break it all down next Wednesday night. Well, after losing 2 receivers to the transfer portal this spring, the Badgers got one back today with the addition of Dekel Crowdis. The 5'11", 170-pound wideout comes to Wisconsin after 1 year at Hawaii, where he caught 16 passes for 402 yards and 4 touchdowns. And before Hawaii, Crowdis spent 3 seasons at Kentucky. Last season, Wisconsin softball was the Cinderella of the Big Ten tournament, advancing all the way to the semifinals as a double-digit seed. Their run ended at the hands of Michigan, who they just so happened to open up this year's tournament with. Badgers looking to avenge that loss from a season ago. They're down 2-0 in the 5th And Olivia Bark shows why she's a member of that Badger bomb squad. Her solo shot cuts the lead in half, but it wouldn't be enough. Wisconsin falls 3-2 the final. And the only thing better than a series win is a series sweep. Jackson Churio and the crew are looking to bring the Brooms out at AmFam Field. They're down 3-0 in the fifth, but Eric Haas makes it a 2-run game with one big swing. His solo home run was the only bright spot today. Brewers fall 9-1 the final.
Well, when they lose with authority, don't they? Well, coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 10, after the amazing race, the Waunakee School District implementing new technology in hopes of making riding the bus a safer experience for students there and provide parents with some peace of mind. Our Maddie Heimsch has all the details, that story, and much more tonight. News 3 Now at 10.
And now we have a final check of the forecast. A beautiful week. My gosh, it goes on.
Even the cooler temperatures we're going to have the next couple days, they're pretty nice, but just cool enough that we have to worry about that patchy frost, especially north of Madison tonight, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. As we go into Thursday, our high temperatures are going to get into the 60s, but then the winds are going to turn light. And as we go into Thursday night, light winds, clear skies. We've got a good chance of frost everywhere on Thursday night, but I promise you temperatures are going to turn warmer by the upcoming weekend. And at 10, I'll let you know how much water you can expect from the sky over the next 10 days.
Beautiful.
All right. Alex, thank you. And thanks for joining us. Have a great evening. We'll be back here tonight for News 3 Now at 10.